Namaha Harihi Om Sat Sat. So, the student, we were doing the verse number 45th, we had finished of the Viveka Chudamani, and we were discussing the verse number 46, and we'll move forward from there. So, first thing the Guru does to the student when he goes to the teacher is to give him a sense of confidence, because the student is very depressed, very anxious. So the teacher says, don't get scared. Ma vista, vidvangstava nasti apaya. Now there is no loss. You are not going to suffer anything. Because you have come here and you have taken the right decision to study Vedanta. Sansara sindhos taranesti upaya. There is a way to get out of this whole ocean of ignorance. This ocean of ignorance is the cause of this whole samsara. Yeneva yata yatayah asya param tameva marga tava nirtisami. I shall tell you how to cross over this whole ocean. And I'll tell you the way forward, the path, following which, on which many people before you have been able to cross over this ocean of darkness, of ignorance, dualities, conflicts. He's not saying you can be here and reconcile yourself to what you have in your life in the samsara, because these adjustments do not solve the long-term perennial problem. There is some sort of a incomplete understanding we have about the samsara. So the Guru is saying, until you have figured that out, howsoever you may try, you shall continue to have this nagging problem. The only way is to overcome the fundamental faulty understanding, because of which everything, it's like a virus has entered the computer. So whatever you do, whether you are using the Excel sheets, spreadsheets, or you are working on the PowerPoint, or whatever you're trying to do in life, there will be some incomprehensible source of problem or agony. Whatever comes as sukha, it is not the source of contentment. There will be some kind of a gap in the happiness that we're aspiring for and what life offers. So there's always some kind of a incompleteness, some kind of a gap, and the Acharya knows and is delivering that message to the student. I shall tell you how to experience that completeness through self-understanding, through Atmajnana. And then he is now giving a positive assurance. First says that there is no Chati, there is no loss. You have not made any mistake anymore. Forget about whatever agonies you have or anxieties you have. Then he's saying, Asti Upaya Mahan Kashi Sansara Vayanashanaha Tena Titva Bhavam Bodhim Paramanandam Apsyasi. So the teacher is now giving a very definite reassurance. Like Arjuna was asking Karna, please tell me which one is the best path. You tell me at once, I don't want to get confused. I cannot sort of jump from one level of understanding to another. I'm little confused regarding this jnana, karma. Sometimes you're saying jnana, sometimes you're saying karma. Tell me which one is better. Similarly, the student can have a similar problem. The Sankaracharya, who is completely well versed in all the texts, obviously is putting things in that right context, keeping the anxieties that we all have as potential to students of this text. He is speaking on behalf of the Guru. He is enacting a drama. He is the creator of this whole drama called Viveka Chudamani, through which he is going to lead us to a better understanding of who we are. Therefore, Sankaranandaji, Bhagavad Pada, is Mahabhaga, is speaking through the mouth of the Acharya to his student. Astyupaya, there is a way out. Mahan Kaschit, and there's a great thing that you have to do, Sansara Bhayanashana. There is one highway to get out of this mess that we call life. Tena Tirtva, and you can actually, it's like a boat, or it's like it's like a light boat through which you can escape a big flood. Tena Tirtva Bhavam Bodhim, this Bhavasagara, this whole ocean called Sansara, Paramanandam apsyasi. You will be able to achieve Parama Ananda, Niradisaya Sukha. You are looking for limited, limited sources of happiness from time to time. You're here, you're there, you have a lot of things happening in your life. Once you are on the path of the Shastras, on the path of Vedanta, your mind lightens up. And today I was talking to a monk who actually left Ramakrishna Mission, very bright young man. He's an MTech and a PhD. And he came here and I said, so what do you feel now you are studying Vedanta for? He left the mission to come and study Vedanta. He said, yeah, initially I thought there is nothing, but now I'm feeling the change. I said, what is the change? He said, the mind starts changing as you study the text over a period of time. It becomes lighter and lighter. Things which I used to attach great importance to, a lot of worries and anxieties, they sort of anymore don't bother me, because I have sort of realized that there is a higher reality, there's a higher truth that I'm connecting with. Therefore, I'm becoming less scared of, less perturbed by the everyday goings on in life. The Bhagavan is reassuring. Samula avidya bhangtva. So you'll be able to break that avidya. Samula. So there is ignorance and there are causes of it. There is a tree. You chop the tree, it will grow again. But if you uproot it along with its roots, where from the tree will emerge again. So we have to remove our problems by understanding their root causes. That is what this whole beautiful text is all about. Tam upayam visheshato nirdisati. Now he's telling him, this is where the whole beautiful dialogue starts. The essential book actually slowly is going to start. He's still creating a setting up. It's called, he's setting the context, the tone for a dialogue between the teacher and the student, so that we'll get interested in the show and we'll relate to the student as if we are asking these questions. And Bhagavan Shankaracharya is answering in this book as if we are talking to our own teacher. That kind of a feeling is creating in us so that we participate in this dialogue. Not as passive readers, but as active, active participants. We positively try to make sense of what is being told to us by Shankaracharya ji through these words, through the words of the Acharya in this particular text. Vedantartha vicharena jayate jnanamuttamam tenatyantika sansara dukkanaso bhavatyanu. This is the first positive, very definite answer. So, when you do any writing workshops or you tell people how to write a research proposal or how to write an essay, how to write a letter, the writing coach all the time will say that forget about speaking in roundabout ways. Come to the point as soon as possible. Straightway mention the central idea of your book or the central idea of your letter or research paper, whatever, in the first 2 lines or 3 lines, because people may lose interest and they'll not read any further. So just put it similarly here. The teacher is directly telling what is the central idea in this whole upaya, in the sadhana, to get out of samsara, which is full of contradictions and confusion and anxieties. We have a feeling of happiness from time to time, but we always have a feeling of anxieties and helplessness. And so far, we managed to forget life. It feels like very okay. The moment we start thinking about life, we are challenged. We feel a little disturbed. But he's now telling how to deal with it. He says, Vedanta Artha Vicharya. Like, for example, whenever we are saying something, there is a particular artha, there is a particular referent, because of which we are having a conversation. So, Vedanta is what? Vedanamantaha. At the end of the Vedas, what is this? The Upanishads. So, when you meditate on the Upanishads, Vedanta Artha Vicharena, what is being conveyed in the Upanishads? If you meditate on that, Jayate Jnanam Uttamam, you will have a superior understanding. Now, a lot of people are advising you to do a lot of things. Somebody says, come here, you do this particular thing. You have a happiness program, you have a different kind of courses they are giving you. The Vedanta guy is telling you, no, that you have to go back to the Upanishads, you have to go back to the Vedas. There lies the secret. Tena atyantika, superior, ultimate. There's nothing beyond that, which is mukhyadayaka, atyantika sansara dukkha nasha. What is atyantika dukkha nasha? You know, let's imagine that you are traveling in a train. Okay, now a lot of us are traveling in flights in last 20 years. But just before 20 years, we didn't have any private airlines. It was all only Air India. I remember once I had purchased a ticket from Bhubaneswar to Delhi back in 2000. The ticket was 28,000 both the ways. Simple economy class ticket. It was so expensive. So you were actually buying tickets always without paying the money, and once the office pays, you can repay it. Once you get the money from the organizer of a workshop, it was like that those days. Now you're getting cheap tickets. There's so many competitors. Now here he is telling you, how do you mention you had a problem? Let's imagine, okay, and this problem was not there after before 5 years. So that is also a particular condition in your life where the dukkha was not there. But when we are saying after jnana there will be dukkha nasa, we are not referring to the time prior to your experiencing what you are experiencing now, the problems you're experiencing today. It was not there yesterday. So one can say yesterday you didn't have the problem. No, Vedanta says it will get rid of all your problems you are having today, you had, and you will not have these problems again. It is not respite. So you get this weekend as a holiday, 2 days, but you have to go back to work on Monday and there'll be stress and strain. So this jnana, atma jnana, will give us atyantika dukkhanasa, means the foundational cause of why we feel sad and helpless and incomplete in life. That foundational cause shall be attacked and destroyed. How that will be destroyed? Because that foundational cause is actually ignorance. That means inability to understand what our real nature is. Once we understand our real nature and we understand who we are, we understand what we need to do in life, what should be our approach, then there is no pain. You might undergo still uncertainties at the level of body and mind, but internally you will have a sense of lightness. You are not bothered. When we were children, when you have gone to a temple along with parents, and suddenly your parents have gone to a shop to buy something, you are still on the road and you are already crying. Why? My parents abandoned me. The same you, after 7, 8, or 10 years, you have gone with your parents, and your parents suddenly vanish into another shop. You are not bothered. You are standing at a bookshop. You continue to look at some new books and you are negotiating which books I'll tell my dad to buy for me. You're not bothered. You know they're going to come back. If they don't, I'll go home. So that maturity. Similarly, before studying Vedanta, we have a limited understanding of what we have. Doesn't mean we are ignorant or we are dumb or we are dead. No. The baby which cries also has a very good understanding of what life is. But the guy who is already 10 or 12 has a better understanding, and therefore the emotional response is different. So after Atmajnana, you have a more matured approach to life, and therefore the irritation level goes down, the anxiety level goes down, the restlessness level goes down, and at the ultimate level, when you are fully integrated with yourself, you can say that it is niratisaya sukha or atyantika dukkha nasa. A little of dukkha stage, you cannot call it niratisaya sukha. If there is a house on fire, so you are spraying water, you are trying to extinguish the fire. You cannot allow some fire to remain and then say, no, I have extinguished fire, because that little fire will expand and burn the whole house again. So if ignorance remains, it will pull us back, pull us down again. Therefore, we have to destroy ignorance by uprooting it, by removing the causes of ignorance. That is what he's saying. Now, So the cause of all this, he mentioned that he's saying first thing, Vedanta Vicharana Jayate Gyanatam, Tena Atyantikam Sansara Dukkha Nasa Bhavati Anu. Bhavati Anu means following. Following what? Following Vedanta Vichara. Anusharana. Somebody is going, you are following him. So you are doing Anusharana. Anu means after somebody, after something. Bhavati Anu. So what first happens? Kaha Bhavati Prathamataha. That particular thing. That Ajnana Nasa happens first. Ajnana Nasa is followed by Dukkha Nasa. Why? Because Ajnana is the Karana of Dukkha. Ajnana is the cause of suffering. You remove the cause, then obviously Dukkha cannot stay. If cause is there, effect can stay. But if you remove the cause, effect cannot stay on its own. It cannot. So, like for example, this book is there. This book is made of paper. I burn these papers. Can the book stay? No, it cannot stay. Similarly, if the ignorance part can be removed, then the suffering associated with ignorance cannot stay, cannot hang around in our mind. That's what he's saying. इदानीं तादृश निन्या साधारणहेतुनाः. So, what are the ways in which we get out of it? Right? That's what it is. And what is that? Vedanta Vichara. Now, for success, there are always in our school of thought, in Indian approach to it, they will mention certain general conditions. Whenever you have a contract, you are writing a job or anything, there will be some general terms and conditions. Then there are special terms and conditions. So the general terms and conditions is like you will come to office and follow, which will be equal for academicians, administrators, and even other staff who are just managing the administrative staff. But when it comes to special duties that you will teach and stuff like that, or you're an engineer or you're a doctor, special duties are also mentioned. There are separate set of additional terms and conditions are mentioned. Additional benefits are also mentioned. Similarly, for Atmajnana, there are some sadharana karana, some general terms and conditions. Then there are special terms and conditions, which is Vedanta Vichara. But in order for Vedanta Vichara to succeed, some general terms and conditions have to be fulfilled. These are the sadharana karanas. What are they? He's explaining here. Shraddha Bhakti Dhyana Yogan Mumukhyo Muktire Hetum Bhakti Sakshat. No, it will be Shraddha Bhakti Dhyana Yogan Mumukhyo Mukti Hetun Bhakti Sakshat Shrutirgihi Yoba Etasvesa Tishtatyamushya Mukhye Mukhyo Vidya Kalpita Deha Bandhat Shraddha Bhakti Dhyana Yogan. So he's mentioning what are these general conditions. Shraddha is one general condition. Whatever you want to do, whether it's in a secular life, in a professional life, or in a religious life, whatever we are doing, we need to have love for what we're doing, some Shraddha. Guru and Shastra both have to be respected. Then only there is any progress in spiritual life. And then what is the next one? Bhakti, some devotion. Because we have loads and loads of papa. And these loads of papa are not going to vanish. And therefore, I will explain one by one. First, let's make sense of the sentence. So we need Shraddha, Bhakti, Dhyana, and Dhyana Yoga. That Dhyana, you can have Karma Yoga, you can Jnana Yoga, you can have Dhyana Yoga. So you also need Dhyana Rupaka Yoga. 3. Mumukshuho Muktehe Hetun Bhakti. So these are the causes of the guy who is interested in liberation. For him, these are the factors. Bhakti, Sakshat. And is he discovering these things? He says no. Sakshat Shrutehe Gihi. These are the words taken out of what? Upanishads. Why is he quoting from Upanishads? Please ask yourself. He just said Vedanta Vicharena. Vedantartha Vicharena. Then you get Moksha or Ananda Paramanandam Apsyasi. That was the promise in the previous verse. So therefore now he's saying whatever is written in Vedanta, these are mentioned. And these are the Veda Vachanas. These are Upanishad Vachanas. and these are mentioned as general causes of your self-realization. Yova etesu eva tishtati amusha. And that particular person, whosoever does the sadhana, and he is able to perfect these things, Shraddha, Bhakti, and Jnana Yoga. And then that Amushya Mukhya, that Mukhya happens and materializes. Why it materializes and how it materializes. He's explaining Avidya Kalpitat Dehavandha. So Shraddha, Bhakti, Dhyana Yoga and qualities like these, if we perfect on our way to liberation from what he's mentioning, freedom from Dehavandha. We are identified that I'm a man, I'm poor, I'm rich, I'm having corona, I'm this old, I have this problem, I have to work so much, nobody is thanking me, nobody is appreciating my work, all these thoughts are there. Identification with the color, the body, height, your job, your finances, your relations, everything, mind body complex and its relations. The total thing. And that is a deha bandha. You're bound up with this body. The body will die. That is the problem. So you will have avinivesha. So unless we are free from the deha bandha, we can never be happy because death cannot be avoided. It's going to come. If it's going to come and we cannot avoid it, obviously we'll feel sad, we'll feel anxious, we'll feel scared. And but this particular these three things he mentioned, Shraddha Bhakti and Dhyana Yoga. And then if we do this, these are the general terms and conditions for self-realization. So then, so Eshyava Tishtati, Amushya Moksha, Avidya Kalpita Deha Bandhat. And this Moksha comes what? Is this Bandha real? No, Avidya Kalpita. It is like there's a prison, there's a cage, there's a cage in which there is a prison. Somebody was telling me what they do. These guys who are catching birds, there are a lot of bird catchers. They catch these birds and they sell them in Middle East and other places. And they have few favorite birds who are very attractive, especially the speaking ones. Now, what they do is they tie a very thin thread around the feet of this bird, this innocent bird, and they leave it freely. So the bird will try to fly away for 10 days, 15 days. It cannot fly away. It will fly and come back. Then it will realize I can never fly. Then they will put it in a cage and they'll sell it out. And if you open that cage, that prison, that bird will come out, take food, and might sit on your hand or your shoulders, on your head. He'll play with you. Then again, it enters that cage, the prison. Why? Because it's convinced I cannot fly. It can, but that particular thread was tied, but now the thread is not tied. So how do you explain the condition of that bird? Why it is not being able to fly? That is avidya kalpita. It thinks I'm tied up, I can't fly. Actually, it can fly. We think we have no existence beyond this body and mind. So we are sort of bound up. We are in a cage. We are in a prison. But this state of unhappiness is born out of ignorance. The way the pigeon, which could actually fly away, is refusing to fly away because it thinks it's tied up. It's not tied up. But it goes back to that cage and it lives there. It's a loyal, lovely bird. We are loyal, lovely birds in the hands of death. Kala is our boss. It's playing with us and we have accepted. Vedanta says no. You are not controlled by death. There was this famous poem by John Donne. He says, "Death, be not proud." Beautiful sentence. Death, be not proud. Don't think. You cannot threaten me. I don't care for you. Who the hell do you think you are? Similarly, Vedanta says you are not mortal, you are immortal. Death cannot do anything because death can do anything to you if you think you are the body. The day you do not have identification with your body anymore, one big hurdle is gone. One factor of our unhappiness and fear and anxiety is removed. One of the important factors. which all the time constrains us and restricts the way we think about us, is removed. Therefore, he says that is very important. Avidya kalpita deha kalpita dehavandha. This dehavandha is avidya kalpita. So each and every one is now explaining that bhakti. What is this bhakti? The commentators and the second Bharat is explaining very beautiful, from Vedantic perspective. So I will not get into the Sanskrit. I will only be telling you in very simple terms, whatever is relevant. Do you know what is bhakti? I told you the chintana of the tattva itself is bhakti in Vedanta. Saguna upasana, yes, when you want to remove papas, purva karmas, we have to do saguna upasana. So we will have our Ishta Devata, we do Gayatri Japa, Onkar upasana, all this we have to do. But once papa has been almost removed and your antakarna is shuddha, and then your bhakti will stay but in a different form. What is that? Swaswarupa Anusandhanam Nididhyasanam. That is bhakti. Swaswarupa Anusandhanam. You are looking for who am I? What am I going to do? Ramana Maharshi was not a bhakta, he was a great bhakta. But he was not singing and dancing the name of Lord, so he didn't believe in Lord. No, he did. He was ever aware of it. But his bhakti was this kind of bhakti. Swaswarupa Anusandhanam. He used to advise his disciples, please ask yourself, who am I? That is the beginning of your journey of self-realization. And that is the first step, devotion. But it is vicharatmaka bhakti. It is not the sang and dance variety of bhakti that he was giving there. Then what is dhyana? Because it is Shraddha. And so what is Shraddha? Shraddha, we know that Guru, Vedanta Vakya, you have to have trust, you have to have faith in Shruti Vakyas, not challenge them, because you cannot actually understand what they are saying. What they are saying, you can understand and make use of it. But if you doubt it, you cannot benefit from it. The key central message is not whole of Vedas, because Karma Kanda is not required for the Jnana Yogis. These are karma nirapeksha. You don't have to buy gold and rice and milk and all that to do a havan. No, not required. It's completely dravya nirapeksha. It's only simple. You have two dhotis enough. You just have to sit and enjoy, and meditate on the Upanishads, have a little light food, and you sarva bhuta hite rata. Practice non-violence, express love and compassion for all, then meditate on the truth and enjoy the slow, unavoidable, and irreversible transformation of your consciousness. That is what Vedanta offers and advises us to do. And then Dhyana Yoga, that's I mentioned, so we'll understand these two words. You know what is Dhyana? He's saying Tatra Pratyekatanata, that is Yoga Sutra. That Pratyekatanata, like for example, imagine sometimes when you listen to the Tanpura, that's a beautiful sound, isn't it? It sort of goes on repeating itself, and they now call it play of Tanpura, and there are several other YouTube channels which is called healing and meditation and study music. There is Pratyekatana, the same thing gets repeated. Now in the mind, you're jumping from one subject matter to another, where you stop that jumping when we are able to sit quiet. Start with breathing exercises. So you have Kipta, Mudha, Vikshipta. After that, Ekagra. So we'll reach closer to some Pragyanta Samadhi. Sagunopasana, not a problem, but we remove a lot of problems. That Dhyana initially is for removing all the papas, purifying ourselves. And that is Dhyana, and all the time meditating on the Brahman, the Atma Tattva. Pratyekatanata, Samyak Savanam Buddhehe Suddhe Brahmani Sarvada iti. All the time meditating on the Atma Tattva, Atma Brahman. What is that? What Vedanta Vakyas we have to meditate? Vedanta ye keh raha hai, how can it be wrong? Let me think further, let me meditate further. That's how the Guru is advising. Samyak astavanah buddhe suddhe brahmani sarvada iti. All the time, comprehensively you establish your mind on the Onkara Upasana, for example. And it gives you a lot of energies, it gives you a lot of peace. You can do it. Early morning, wake up, you have taken a bath, and then you do Ucharanam of the Onkara a few times, you feel great energy, internal peace. It happens. And then what is Samadhana? Dhyana Yoga, Samadhana is what? Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. So you have Ekagra, that's Sampragnata Samadhi. But next rose is the Nirudha Samadhi, where you are also not there. There is only the Suddha Satta Chaitanya Swarupa. So that is Samadhana, Saddha Samadhana. We have done that even Samadhi Sattva Sampati. So Tatra Shraddha Sarvatra Hetu. Shraddha is critical. If you don't have faith, dhyana, yoga, and these all these bhakti, all these things will not materialize. Shraddha is the beginning. If Shraddha is there, then bhakti can fructify, yoga can fructify, karma yoga, bhakti yoga, everything will materialize only when you have Shraddha to start with. Some faith in the Guru Vedanta Vakyas, that is what he's saying. And Shraddha Bhakti Dhyana Yogad Evahi. So he's quoting from Kaivalya Upanishad. So if you want Kaivalya Prakti, Atma Jnana Prakti, he's saying Shraddha Bhakti is the starting point. Without that, sorry, we can't help you. It is like you want to get into the army. You're very intelligent, you're very smart, but you're physically dull and weak. So you fail in the physical test. They said, sorry, we can't help you. We accept that you are very bright, you are a good person, and we wish you well, but not in the army because you are not physically fit. So the Shraddha Bhakti are critical to doing any vichara, any meditation, and therefore he says, pay attention to it. Now, after he has to explain, the student wants to do Atmajnana sadhana to get out of samsara. So the teacher is saying that we will free you from this bhavasagara, bhavasindhu. So what does it mean? He has to explain what is that bhavasagara, no? What is that sansara rupaka sagara? What is that ocean of sansara we are suffering in that requires some attention? And what is this bandha, that bondage? What is it like? That also requires some explanation. That is providing in the next. So 3-4 questions is taking in one particular sloka here. Okay. 3-4 questions is taking at one go. What are these questions? Is basically one by one. One is Sanskriti Hetu, Sansarana, Sanskriti Sansara. What is the cause of the Sansara? Why is it happening? Why we get confused, we get involved in too many things? You don't like, many times you will ask yourself, but why did I do it? I mean, again, this fellow has ditched me, but why did I trust him? We all ask these questions to ourselves. But we do not realize that actually we are referring to one instance of a general phenomenon called samsara. We are angry about a particular event. But the particular event is actually part of a cobweb of several events which appear nice when we are not affected by them. We feel depressed and hurt when something pinches us. But truth of the matter is that the whole cobweb of samsara per se involves these kinds of psychological stresses and strains, and moments of elation and happiness also. Overall, it is. So unless we try to get a hand on what the samsara means broadly, that's what Vedanta offers. Number one. Then, if we understood samsara, it's like a disease. Okay, so tell me how that comes into play. What is the nidana or what is the diagnosis? Like the patient goes to the doctor. What does the doctor first do? It diagnoses the patient. What are the symptoms and what could be a cause of these symptoms? These are the problems you have. So what could be a cause? They try to find out. It is this, is it cancer, it is TB or this or that. And at what stage and what medication accordingly they will provide. Tannibriti upaya. So first thing you need to know what is the broad game all about called samsara in which we are caught. The second thing we need to know is actually nidana, the diagnosis, the first cause. And third thing we need to know is how to get out of this whole conundrum called samsara. How to sort of go beyond our limited and restricted consciousness so that we feel more comfortable, at ease with ourselves, and then life doesn't feel like a challenge either exciting or depressing, but it sort of is beyond all that. How do we get out of this whole game where most of the time we're kind of restless, sometimes we feel happy, sometimes we feel very sad, broadly. So let's look at this verse number 49. Agyano yogat paramatmanastava yat yanatma bandhas kata eva sangsritihi तयोर्विवेकोदितबोधवह्निः अज्ञानकार्यं प्रदहेत् समूलम् is very, very soothing, reassuring, confidence building statement he's making. You know what he's trying to say? Ajnana yogat paramatmanah tava. Look, he's building the confidence of the student. He's referring to the student as you yourself are Paramatma. Look at Bhagavan Sankaracharya. He's telling us, my boy, you are depressed. My daughter, you are depressed. But please understand, you are verily Paramatman. Jiva Brahmeva na paraha. You are not different from God. You are divine. But why? How I become Jiva? Why am I feeling I'm Sukhi, I'm Dukhi, I'm depressed, I'm anxious? He's saying, yeah, but there is a factor as to why you feel like that. What is it, sir? Ajnana yoga. That is because you do not know who you are. You know, it's like somebody wants to cheat you, a marketing guy. He comes and sells your policy. He says, you have all kinds of problems and this and that. You buy this policy. You don't want to do it, but he'll get his dividend if you buy the policy. Nobody wants to help you. They want to help themselves. So then how do they trap you? They'll create anxiety in you. And they will mention some guys who have made a lot of profits by buying that policy. And they play that game, you are trapped and you buy it. Then you repent. Sometimes you make a loss, sometimes you make a profit. But there are a lot of policies where you just buy it only to make a loss. Just because of the anxiety, false anxiety. And that sort of repeats in life. Therefore, Bhagavan is saying, Ajnana yogad paramatmanah taba. You are Paramatma, Paramatman, and Taba Paramatmanah of you, Paramata, O my Lord. He Anatma Bandhanaha Tata Eva Sangsrati. Do you know what? You are bound up with Anatma. Who is Atma? This Satta, the Satta Swarupa, the Sakhi Chaitanya. The one who sees that Sakhi Bhavena, that Drik Chaitanya, that is the real thing, that is you. Everything other than you is what you have. You have children, you have problems, you have solutions, you have money, you have fame, you have, lack of fame, whatever. These you are having association with, then you get obsessed with them. That obsession with what you are not, he refers to as anatma bandha. So the bondage around us, which keeps us limited, restricted to this life we have, is a bondage made of anatma. Why? Because Atma is Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, Satchidananda Swarupa. It cannot bind us, it can only liberate us. And we are actually not different from that. But we don't know it. We are like that bird. The door is open, but we refuse to fly. We go back to that cage, that samsara. We go back to the samsara. That is the only reality for the bird. And for us, the samsara is the only reality. Unless we are ready to believe in what the Upanishad says. The Upanishad says that, हे परमात्मा, आपके दुख का कारण आपका अज्ञान रूपक बंध है, जो कि सच नहीं है, कल्पित है, झूठ का आप गुस्से हो रहे हो. Sometimes a lot of people get anxious till they are clarified that actually that is not a problem. Old people also get very anxious because they're insecure. Vedanta says, no, you're insecure because you don't realize you don't have to feel insecure. Tava sansmritihi, that is sansara, that sansara. Birth and death, birth, all these that we're passing through. Tayor viveka udita bodha vannihi. What is the solution now? Upai is saying. Tayor, unke, वो दो का. तस्य तयोः तेषां. So he's saying तयोः, उनका, वो दो. कौन है दो? Atma and Anatma. If you can do Viveka between Atma kya hai, Anatma kya hai, what is Atma and what is Anatma Vastu, then you can discard the Anatma Vastu and hang on to the Atma Vastu. That is you actually. So once we are able to do this Atma Anatma Viveka, Viveka Udita Bodhavani, the moment we have that Viveka, that discrimination, the power of differentiating, drawing a line of analytical distinction, once we have that power to distinguish Atma from Anatma, then he's saying Udita Bodhavani, the fire of knowledge, Bodhavani, the fire of wisdom, the luminous flame of awareness of who you are, self awareness emerges. And this fire is very powerful. अज्ञान कार्यम प्रदहेत समूलम. अज्ञान का कार्य क्या है? संसार. अज्ञान कारण है. अज्ञान is the cause. The cause of this sansara is ignorance. So अज्ञान तत्कार्य, अज्ञान and तत्कार्य संसार. समूल विदहे, समूल प्रदहेत. Right? So, prakashanena dahet, it will burn down what? The sansara. Bhasmi bhuta kurya, it will burn the whole thing. How? With the fire of self-awareness. So, I'll just give a very small example. You must have seen these YouTube videos are making rounds. There'll be one cat, and there'll be 3, 4 dogs around, and the cat is self-aware. So she has studied Vedanta. Previous life, maybe she had studied a lot of Vedanta but could not get liberation. Maybe she was born as a cat. And then this cat is self aware. What happens to the dogs? You'll see those videos, you'll laugh at it. I'm just trying to be a little humorous. Now, the cat is there, she'll be drinking milk or she'll be going, and the dogs will be coming closer to her and she'll just frighten them. You'll be shocked if you see those videos. 2, 3 are there, you can check. She's not scared of them. The dogs are scared of the cat. Now, the sansara is much bigger than us. Till the cat is afraid of the dogs will frighten the cat. Till we are scared of the sansara, till we think the sansara, you know how we get scared of the sansara? We give value to the sansara. The best example is you will have the middlemen and dalals in big cities. You want to buy a train ticket, they'll get hold of you in the station. They say, we buy it for you. Whatever you do, they are there to cheat others and frighten them. They are sometimes linked to local elites, powerful dominant groups, and they frighten you. They threaten you. Vedanta says this samsara is like that goon, an antisocial element which frightens us. You do this. And they also give you some, lollipops to attract you. They want to keep you trapped. So far you are trapped, all power they have. The moment you wake up, you have this awareness that I am Brahman, I'm Satchidananda Swarupa, what this sansara is trying to frighten me and why. You roar like a lion. What happens to these goons? They run away. Sansara doesn't come as a person in our lives. It comes through what? It comes through small temptations. You are going to meditation. You are in a very good mood. Then somebody sees you. Oh, you look so handsome, sir, today. And that is how sansara comes. You are going to office. You are in a very thoughtful mood. Somebody says, we are going out for dinner. Are you coming? They'll spoil your evening. Sansara. Sansara doesn't come as a devil. It comes like a good friend. It will come like the sweetest of friends you have on earth, with a beautiful smile sometimes. Sometimes will come to frighten you, threaten you. Sometimes will come with very pleasant voices. What is the idea to rule over you? What Vedanta says, no, you don't need to get frightened because it's not real. You're afraid of a ghost which doesn't exist. It's a piece of cloth which is hanging from a branch in a tree, and you are in your garden, you're at a distance, and you look at that white piece of cloth and you think a ghost is standing and frightening you, and then you feel miserable. Then you go to some occultist, then you do hazard things, 20 things you do. how to exercise this whole spirit out of my house. My house is haunted. I want to change my house. Poor piece of cloth hanging on the branch. If you put the torchlight, that is the Vedantic approach. What is the torchlight? Torchlight is Jnana Marga. Don't get scared in darkness. Use your torchlight. What is that? Jnana Drishti. So Bhagavan is saying that Tayor Viveka Udita Bodhavannihi Ajnana Karyam Pradahet Samulam. Mool ke saath. What is the moola of samsara? Ajnana. So what will this Bodhava Vanni will do? The fire of knowledge. It will burn down the samsara and its cause. What is that? Ignorance. So with knowledge, ignorance cannot stay. You enter into a big dark cave, then you light up a small candle. There was loads of darkness in that cave, isn't it? So you light a candle or a fire. What happens to the darkness? It's not there. Why? Once light is there, darkness cannot stay there. Similarly, when there is self-awareness, ignorance doesn't have a chance. It goes. It was never there. We thought it was there. Avidya kalpita, that is, that bandha is avidya kalpita. We imagine, we fantasizing about the samsara is good, bad, ugly. Vedanta says no, fundamentally it doesn't exist. Hey, appearance, yeah, it appears, not a problem. Fundamentally, no, it doesn't exist. A lot of things appear to be true, but they don't exist. Like mirrors and a lot of things. Like, if you change the focal length of a camera, you are standing in front of a house. Just imagine you are on a drone, the drone camera. Now these beautiful videos are coming. The drone camera takes, there is a small fly sitting on your face, and the drone camera takes, zooms in, and then slowly moves away. Then they show your nose, your face, and then you become slow set dot, and they show the whole landscape. They go further and further away. And if they go into outer space, what do you see? You don't even see Earth. What to think about you? Now tell me, in the picture where you, along with all planets of the solar system, have been captured. Now the fly on your nose is true or false. You cannot say it's false because on the close-up it's there. But in this picture, it's not there. Once we change the way we see, we change the vantage point, we change the focal length of our lens, the reality is different. Largely, a lot of people are now believing that reality lies in the eyes of the beholder. The poor Keats said beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder, but now things are changing. Even science is saying much of what we value is our own creation, is our own imagination. We are super excited about it because we are thinking it, and because we think we are our ego. Neither our ego is real, nor what we think about reality with the help of this ego. And that is the end of the story. Once we figure this out, we are out of many problems. That is what Vedanta tells us. And then the Sishya, having, when he hears this, the Sishya wants to know more. So Sishya says, Sishya uvacha krupaya sruitam swamin prasno yam kriyate maya yaduttaram aham sritva kutartham syam bhavan mukha. Now the student now gets to know the teacher has a soft corner for him. You know, it's like a child goes to the mother. The mother is asleep. The boy goes. He wants some toffee or candy, but he finds mother is studying. She's working on a research paper. The boy actually first tries to gauge the mood of the mother. What does he do? She goes and says, she just smiles and hugs the mother. Checks whether mother is paying attention. Mother says, no, don't disturb me now. Then quietly sits next. He's waiting for his chance now. Then slowly lies down on her lap or gets hold of her back or rests on her back. He will do some games till he gets the attention of the mother. Then he will ask, but mother smiling says, how are you? Are you feeling better? And he says, yes. Then he doesn't wait any further. Immediately says, so can I have a candy? You know? Similarly, the student now finds the teacher is in a very good mood the teacher is telling him you are Paramatma, it's because of some ignorance problem, some small problem is there in your computer. And then he says, oh, really, it's a small problem, please fix it. You go to a mechanic, a computer guy, and he looks at your computer, and instead of charging you, says, yeah, some minor problem there, it'll take half an hour. Now, please do it urgently. It'll cost you 2,000. No worries, you just do it. Why? You want to get rid of that problem. Similarly, the student immediately says, Krupaya Sriyatam Swamin Prasnoyam Kriyate Maya. I have a few questions, sir. Would you kindly listen to them? Because the doctor has to listen to the patient's problems, otherwise, how could the prescription be proportionate to the problems the patient has? The patient is saying, sir, would you kindly listen to my problem? I know you are saying you know what I am suffering from, but would you please listen to my symptoms? The teacher thinks this guy just has a bit of minor vital problem. And this guy thinks I have this XYZ because he studies a lot of things on the internet. So he's telling the teacher, sir, I have a few symptoms. Would you please care to listen to them? And then what is it? Yat uttaram aham shrutva. And if you then give me an answer to those questions, kritartham sham, then I'll be kritartha. I'll be happy. I'll get what I'm looking for. Bhavan mukhat. By hearing those words from your mouth, these baksudha, the nectar in the form of your kind words, kind counsel, I shall be kritartha. I shall be very grateful, my dear sir. That is how he's approaching. And now the teacher will listen to these questions, will only do these questions, and we will expand them tomorrow. Now, what are these questions he's saying? Ko nama bandha kathame sa agataha. What is this bandha? Bandha ka swarup, what is this bandha? Ko nama bandha. What is this karma bandha you mentioned? Deha, deha bandha. That is what you said, because of ajnana. I'm caught up in this deha bandha. Ko nama bandha. What is the swarup of this bandha? Kathame sa agata. Where from it came? You're saying I don't see. What is this bandha you're talking about? Katham pratisthasya, and where this bondage is staying, how does it manage to stay? Somebody says that you have this particular infection. What will you know? You'll immediately Google and say, how could I get this? Where I got infected? You try to find out. So he's asking, Katham pratisthasya, how does it stay in me, this bondage? Katham vimoksha, how do I break this bondage? How do I break the chains because of which my life is restricted, limited? Koso, kosavanatma, ko asau anatma. Who is that anatma? Because Gurus told him, Atma, Anatma, Viveka. You should be able to differentiate Atma from Anatma. You want Atma Jnana, no? So all the Anatma Jnana removed. Because you are confusing Anatma Jnana as Atma Jnana. So the Guru is saying, please remove all Anatma Jnana. Anatma and Atma, that distinction we should be able to draw. And therefore he's asking, Ko also Anatma, Paramaha, Ka Atma. And what is that Paramatma? You refer to me as Paramatma. And there is Atma and there is Anatma. Tell me what is Anatma and what is Atma. Then I'll be, you tell me what is X, what is Y, then I'll be able to differentiate X from Y. Tayor Viveka, and how to do the Viveka, distinction between them. Katham etad uchyatam, and katham etad, how do I distinguish? How do I recognize? So the superior office says that, okay, you go there, the terrorist coming, and one of the terrorists is carrying some bombs, and the other terrorist is having other kind of weapons. He has guns. The police guy, who's a junior officer, he's saying, sir, but are there any ways in which I have some intelligence? How do I recognize them? Give me some more data. No, they will come. No, how do I recognize? No, but I told you they come. No, but that is not enough information, sir. Similarly, the student is asking, please tell me what is that Atma, what is that Anatma, how to distinguish. And then I can get vimoksha, I can get liberation. And how the conversation proceeds, that we'll look at it tomorrow.